Hi everybody, Marc Laurenson here from Sydney Astrology School, and thanks for joining me. Now, the other day I was thinking about what I was going to do for a New Year clip. And then I remembered that a lot of people around this particular time tend to want to make New Year's resolutions. They'll say things like, I'm going to start back at the gym this year, or I'm going to start meditating a bit more and get more into a spiritual routine. Now, I thought that was a really good idea, but I thought I wanted to take it down a slightly different road. I thought rather than doing resolutions, I thought about affirmations. I thought about making concrete decisions, confirming something on the level of who you want to be this particular year, and also wanting to understand yourself more in the context of your evolutionary path, and coming into alignment with your soul contract in 2024 as well. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at looking at an affirmation that can be made for each sign of the zodiac. Okay, so there we go. Affirmations for each sign in 2024. Now, this is not just for people who have the sun in these particular signs. I think it could be really beneficial also for people with the moon in these signs, and even for people who might have the other personal planets in the signs as well, meaning Mercury, Venus, and Mars in these signs. The sun and the moon, of course, will be the strongest, being the luminaries. But I think that if you have the personal planets in these particular signs, there might be something about these affirmations that are going to ring true for you in some kind of way as well. So let's get going. Let's have a look at each sign in turn. So let's start off with the first sign. So we're going to be looking at Aries to begin with. Okay, and the affirmations that I've written for Aries: I will make what I truly love happen. Nothing will stand in my way. Okay. Now, I want to say that a lot of Aries, or people who've got a lot of Aries in their chart, aren't necessarily doing this. You know, a lot of Aries get caught up. A lot of Aries get scared. A lot of Aries put other things in front of what they truly want in life. And I want to say when Aries does this, it becomes very, very frustrated. I often think of Aries on their deathbed when they're 102, taking their last breath, getting very, very pissed off with themselves, with all the things that they left hanging, you know, all the things that they came up with excuses around or put other things before that. Lots and lots of things that they really wanted that were never done or never accomplished for many, many different reasons, you know, lots of excuses, particularly around being too scared to. Money comes into this, you know, not making, will it make me money? You know, always thinking that if I go for something that I want, am I going to be safe on that level comes into it to a certain degree. But it's always going to be putting other people first. All those kind of things will come into it too. So I will make what I truly love happen. And I want to underscore what I truly love here, because what I truly love is, you know, is part of your, I want to say, part of your soul juice. It's really what you've come onto the planet to do, what you've come onto the planet to experience, what you've come onto a planet to accomplish. And not getting it done as an Aries will make you feel, as I said, very frustrated. And it will make you feel very disappointed in yourself to a certain degree as well. Nothing will stand in my way is a very Aries thing to say too, don't you think? Not allowing anything, not allowing any challenges, not allowing any blocks, not allowing any fears to get in my way of making what I want happen this year. So Aries, all people who've got planets in Aries, particularly the sun and the moon, I think will really benefit from the bravery and the leadership qualities and the initiation that actually comes with those affirmations. Okay, so let's look. Oh, before I move on, I want to actually say that the North Node is going to be is going through Aries at the moment. So you might be feeling a very, very strong pull in that direction too, by the North Node as well. Okay. So let's look at Taurus. So the affirmations I have written for Taurus are, I am safe. Isn't that a good Taurus affirmation? I have everything that I need. Okay. I am constantly replenished. Now, this is so important for Taurus to know. Taurus is a beautiful sign, but it does get caught up. It gets caught up in this whole idea of keeping safe and secure, particularly on an outer level, material level, money and possessions, and making sure everything is battened down, in that way can really get Taurus stuck. It can get Taurus inert. It can get Taurus in an immovable state. And I want to say that coming into a place of saying I am safe and I have everything I need, and the replenishment of Earth, the replenishment is a very Taurus word. It's connected to the Earth and nature is constantly in a state of replenishment. And so if Taurus can use that as an affirmation, I'm constantly replenished, that means that this particular year for them will be a very abundant year, I imagine, if they can come into an understanding of living into those affirmations. Jupiter is going through Taurus at the moment, and it continues through Taurus to about halfway through 2024. And so that might actually raise the vibration there, give you a little bit more confidence on that level. Uranus is in Taurus as well, so that's kind of shaking the cage a little bit, taking Taurus outside of its comfort zone. But again, wanting to have Taurus, wanting to get Taurus to look down new roads around their safety and particularly their value. So another really good Taurus affirmation could be around being valuable. I am valuable. Or I need to be able to find new ways of being able to locate value in my life, in myself and outside myself as well. Okay. So they're really, really important Taurus affirmations to say. Okay. So let's look at Gemini. So Gemini, the affirmations I have for Gemini is I share information that I love, find joy in, and it is aligned with my highest good. Now, we all know Gemini loves to be mentally stimulated. We all know Gemini loves information and loves to be out there. It's very curious. It's very inquisitive. Learning, speaking, writing, reading. We know Gemini is in there. It's in the mix with all those things. But I want to say often Gemini can kind of get caught up and kind of get distracted with a lot of meaningless bits and pieces. And I want to say this year for Gemini to actually hone it in, to actually pull it all in and to follow a mental path that brings them joy, the things that they love and things that they want to study or things that they want to communicate in or things that they want to learn. It has to actually feel a little bit more aligned with why they're here on the planet. It actually feels like the information that I'm gathering or garnering is actually helping me along the way. And now I can actually be able to share this in a way that's going to be hugely beneficial and possibly in a way going to open other people's minds up to things that they've never thought of before either. I love the idea of I see through the eyes of love. Gemini is very much about being able to perceive, being able to look around and being able to understand what's going on around it. So I perceive through the eyes of love is another wonderful, wonderful Gemini affirmation as well. Okay. So we're moving on to Cancer. Okay. And what I have for Cancer is I care and nourish myself so I can lovingly do the same for others. Now, this is so important for Cancer because I find that Cancer can sometimes be quite hard on itself. Often, cancers can always be there looking after, nurturing, particularly children, animals, that kind of thing, and often put themselves on the back burner or not pay attention to their needs. So I think it's really important for Cancer to nourish and care for themselves. But another thing I want to underscore with Cancer too is that Cancer can be hard on itself on the level of taking things personally. It gets hurt very easily, and it gets very, very defensive a lot of the time. So when it gets defensive, or when it gets overly takes everything on a personal level, they're not being kind to themselves there. They're hurting themselves when they do that. So I want to actually go down the road for Cancer of dropping the defense, dropping the guard, coming out of the shell kind of thing, because that's caring for yourself as a Cancerian. Nourishing and loving and looking after yourself is not about being defensive. It's not about being overly protective. It's about loving and caring for yourself in a way where you don't have to do that anymore. So I want to underscore that too for Cancer as well. Okay? So let's look at Leo. I matter. I matter. I am generous of spirit. This is a Leo thing that Leo really, really needs to learn. And I think 2024 could be a really good time. I co-create with the universe. Okay. So a lot of people get caught up with Leo, in a way of thinking, they're always going to be attention seekers. They're always going to be wanting to, take up a lot of room, that kind of thing, vibrationally. But Leo isn't necessarily going to play out like that. I know a lot of Leos, or people with lots of strong Leo in their chart, that are actually quite shy. They actually pull back from all that. They're very scared to be putting themselves out there, because Leo is very, very concerned about response and feedback. It really is. And so it's worried about not getting positive feedback. If it doesn't get positive feedback, it always feels like, in a way, that people don't like them, or they're doing the wrong thing. And so it becomes a lion, crawling back into the cave again and not wanting to come out. And so Leo has to actually turn it around and be a generous spirit. That's what Leo is about. Leo is the sun, it's the rays of the sun, and it's about being able to shine a light out there into the world in some kind of way. So to be generous of spirit, you have to actually start to like who you are. You actually have to start to believe that you matter and you're important. And that's when you start to feel really good about yourself. When you feel good about yourself, you can share that energy with other people. And so I matter is really, really important, because the sun matters. Without the sun, we're all gone in an instant. The sun matters. And so Leo matters. And that energy, that Leo energy that lights up a room, matters. And to be a co-creator with the universe just means that I'm here representing the universe in my own way, and I need to be generous of my light and of my gifts and of my talent and of my creativity enough to be able to make other people happy through what I do and who I am. So they're really, really good affirmations for Leo for 2024. So let's look at Virgo, okay? That's the only one I wrote for Virgo. I'm perfect exactly the way I am. Okay? Now, this could actually be universal, couldn't it, for every single person? But I want to actually go down the road of people with lots of Virgo in their chart really, really need to know this one. You know how Virgo can get caught up in that perfectionist thing? I've got to be better. I've got to do more. I've got to work harder. I've got to cross every T. I've got to dot every I. and it can be really, really hard on itself. It doesn't give itself a break. I want Virgo in 2024 to give itself a break, to let itself off the hook. I'm perfect exactly the way I am. I do not have to do any more. I don't have to work any harder. I don't have to scrub. I don't have to scrub anymore. You know what I mean? That whole feeling of trying to when I say clean myself up, I'm not talking about it in a hygienic kind of way, which a lot of Virgos can get into, but you know, that feeling of I'm already there, I'm already clean. The universe has made you that way. You know, you don't have to become any better than you already are. So when you come into recognizing that, when Virgo comes into knowing that, that's when it can be at its best. That's when its work and its service and the way it actually understands how the body works. And that's when it can be hone its skills. And that's when other people can really, really benefit from what Virgo has to give. When it realizes that it's already perfect. And now all it has to do is to put that perfection into something that other people are going to benefit from. Okay? So that's an important one. Super, super important one for Virgo in 2024. Let's look at Libra. I find peace in duality. I am at ease in contrast. I think these are really, really important affirmations for Libra. I find peace in duality. I'm at ease in contrast. You know how so often Libra lives in a state of inner anxiety because it kind of wants everything outside itself to be nice and easy and balanced, and everybody out there, you know, liking them, and they want to be popular. They want to be everybody's best friend. Now, I'm not saying every single Libra is like this. But I just want to say the understanding of Libra tends to go outside to find it. But Libra is the balancing act. You know, Libra is that feeling of being able to look at both sides of something and being able to see that they're both valid. So duality, opposites, contrast, good, bad, black, white, night, day, boy, girl, everything is valid. And Libra needs to be able to sit in the middle of that rather than trying to make everything nice and everything easy, tipping the scales down one end. It has to look at the other side of life. And it has to actually go, yes, sometimes people aren't going to like me. Sometimes there is going to be chaos. Sometimes there are going to be days where you're going to actually go, oh, you know, this is not what I want. You know, there are going to be those kind of times. And Libra needs to be able to come into a place of peace, of mental and inner peace with that. And so I want to underscore that as a really, really important affirmation for Libra. I find peace in duality. I'm at ease in contrast. Important stuff for Libra to remember. Okay. Let's look at Scorpio. I'm empowered by my feelings. This is an interesting one for Scorpio, and I truly believe that this is a really important affirmation. And I find strength in vulnerability. Now, there's lots of people with strong Scorpio in their charts, Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Moons, or big Scorpio Stelliums, that are probably cringing at this. Because being vulnerable for Scorpio feels like they're going to die, you know, if they open themselves up. But that's where their power is. That's where their power lies. Power is in Scorpio's feelings, and Scorpio tries to dodge all that because it always feels that if it goes too deeply into its own feelings or it becomes too open, it's going to open itself up too much. Other people are going to take control. Other people are going to have power. And of course, that's really scary for Scorpio. So for Scorpio to become empowered, it has to do exactly what it's frightened about, has to go into that area. Vulnerability doesn't mean that you're going to leave yourself open for anybody to do anything to you. That doesn't mean that at all. Vulnerability just means I have to get over the fear of my feelings. I have to get over the fear of being hurt. I have to get over the fear of something to do with my feelings running away with me. I have to get over the fear of that. And I become empowered when I get over the fear of my feelings. That's what it is for Scorpio. So I want to actually say I'm empowered by my feelings. And I find the strength in my vulnerability. I find the strength in my softness. I find the strength in my sensitivity. I find the strength and the transformation in my fearlessness, particularly around my emotions. Very important for Scorpio. Sagittarius. I align my beliefs with love, joy, and the total acceptance of all of life. Now, this is so important for Sagittarius. Sagittarius, as we know, is a very explorative sign. It loves to get out there and explore. It loves to travel. It loves to know what's going on, but Sagittarius can get caught up in the I knows. It can get caught up in black and white. It can get caught up in good and bad. It can get caught up in the right way and the wrong way. Sagittarius is very opinionated and can be played that way, I mean. So Sagittarius needs to lighten up, basically. It needs to lighten up this year. I want my beliefs to come into a softer place of love and joy. And when I say total acceptance of all of life, Sagittarius needs to be able to open itself up into a place where its beliefs include everything and everyone. Not everything is a black and white situation. Not everything is an us and them kind of storyline. The whole high side of Sagittarius is to be able to become wise on the level of universal laws. And universal laws are all inclusive. And so I want to really underscore that with Sagittarius, people with lots of Sagittarius in their chart, to lighten up, particularly around what they believe is right and what they believe is wrong, okay? And come into a much softer and kinder place, okay? Capricorn. I'm in charge of who I am, and I am the author of my own script, okay? Again, Capricorn has to be careful of the responsibility thing. It is very much feeling, I'm responsible for what goes on. I'm responsible for everything in life, particularly other people. I'm responsible for them. I'm holding the boat up. I'm keeping the boat afloat for everybody, that kind of thing. Capricorn really needs to pull that in. Capricorn really needs to just go, I'm in charge of who I am. And therefore, being in charge of who I am means that I'm in charge of my life and nobody else's life when it really, when the rubber hits the road. I'm the only one looking after what I need to do in life. So therefore, if I'm going to become responsible, I need to become responsible for the things that I want to become responsible for, not for the things I feel are burdening me or I feel obliged to. I want to actually come into a place of realizing that I am the driver of my own ship. I'm the author of my own script. So it kind of allows Capricorn a little bit of leeway to actually become their own person and to realize that they are the boss. They are the CEO of their own lives. And so any choices that they make that steers them away from that, they have to realize that they are doing that. You know, they are responsible or accountable for anything in 2024 that doesn't fit into their world, because they are in charge of their choices. They are in charge of what's going on. So I want Capricorn to understand this particular year, that they are in charge of what they are doing this particular year, the choices they're making this particular year, and write their script in a way that's actually going to work for them and benefit them. Aquarius. I'm free to be me. Okay. And the person I am creates my future. So again, this is so important for Aquarius to recognize and to know. I am free to be me doesn't necessarily mean I have to fight against things anymore. You know, that feeling Aquarius often feels, in a way, it's like an us and them kind of thing occasionally. It feels a little bit like who I am and what I want to be kind of rubs up against the rest of the world. And I always feel a little bit like a square peg in a round hole. I always feel a little bit like I have to kind of adjust myself to kind of fit in. But, you know, the need to be me, the freedom to be yourself just allows you, you know, again, you don't have to fit in with anything. There's nothing to fit into. You know, the universe has created us all uniquely. We are all little snowflakes. We're all original. We're all beautifully designed in a way where we've got something to offer by just being our original, beautiful selves. And Aquarius needs to understand that. So there's nothing to fight against anymore. They don't have to prove themselves anymore. They don't have to go into that cantankerous, rebellious place anymore, because they're free enough to relax into the beauty and the universal creativity of their original selves. And that's so important for Aquarius to understand this year. And the person I am now creates my future, meaning coming into that place of you being able to settle calmly and I want to say comfortably and embraced and be able to embrace your true, unique, original self. Your future now actually becomes that. Your future becomes you. So by fighting against it or by feeling that there's something in you that, you know, doesn't fit in or whatever, your future will display that. Your future will show you that. By coming into a place of recognizing your beauty just by being you, just by you relaxing into, as I said, your unique self, your future will create that as well. Your future will give you exactly what that means to you. So therefore, your future is open to being inventive and innovative and change-worthy, and you're a mover and a shaker. You're all those kind of things. So I wanna keep on underscoring that idea for Aquarius too. Aquarius has got Pluto moving into it, as a lot of you already know, at the beginning of 2024. So there'll be a huge shift on that area, not just for Aquarians, but for everybody. Okay, so we're looking at Pisces now. I will follow my bliss. I trust the flow of what makes me happy. Okay, this is Pisces. You see so many Pisceans or people with lots of Pisces in their chart, Pisces moons or big stelliums in Pisces, even Pisces rising, with this kind of feeling of I feel I know what I want, but I don't know what I want. You know, that feeling of there's something out there for me, I feel like I want to become something, but I can't put my finger on it. I can't put it into sort of like some kind of, I can't put it into anything concrete or anything tangible. It always feels out of my reach. And I want to say that that's perfect, because it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be an unfolding of your life as you follow your heart, as you follow your soul. Your soul is your guide. Your soul is your guardian angel, and it wants to take you out there into the world, and it wants you to actually, when I say stumble across it, it feels like if you follow that part of you, you will automatically, like a magnet, be in the right place at the right time for it. It will come to you. It will come to you. I trust the flow of what makes me happy. So you just got to go with the feeling. What does make you happy? What brings you joy? And you've got to trust where that wants to take you. This is a really, really important thing for Pisces. Now, Pisces, Neptune is right at the very tail end of Pisces. We're in the last couple of degrees of Pisces this year. So there is a winding up process in this. So there is something about Pisces energy this year, feeling in a way that something has to happen here. And we've got Saturn going through Pisces too at the moment. So, I want to actually say that, for people with a lot of Pisces in their chart, that it might actually be a little tiny bit more evident or a little bit more concrete than ever before with Saturn there. There is something on the level of you really having to own this. There's something on the level of you actually saying to, I want to say, take responsibility or authority in a way with this. You need to realize that, you following your heart and you becoming, I want to say, intensely connected to your sensitivity and your intuition. It feels very much like the Saturn energy in you really, really wants you to be able to move forward with this, give it a place to go, give it a goal, achieve something through this. That's also a very Piscean thing to do as well, for this year, particularly with the Saturn connection. So I will follow my bliss. I trust the flow of what makes me happy. And as I said, it might be a little tiny bit more evident in the outside world this year because of the Saturn influence. Okay. I want to also mention that Jupiter goes into Gemini for the second half of 2024. So lots of people with lots of Gemini in their charts may feel the boost or the upswing of the Jupiter energy in the second half of 2024. Okay. So here's a good affirmation. It's an affirmation or affirmations that are for everybody. It's a wide umbrella, catch bucket, lot of ideas. I think that we can all benefit from. Okay, so I affirm that 2024 will be my best year ever. I'm a beacon of light for the universe to work through, using its energy in all areas of my life. I refuse to give power to anything outside of myself that stops me from my joy, love, and purpose. I am aware that my choices determine my experience, so I am opening myself up wholeheartedly, trusting I will be guided to make choices that align with my highest good and my greatest joy. Okay? So I don't know if any of you want to write that down and put it somewhere. So it's in iShot for 2024. I think it's really, really important to have something like that to keep on reminding you of how important affirmations actually are. So namaste, everybody. Namaste actually means the light in me recognizes the light in you. Isn't that beautiful? It is not just, hi, how you going? It's much, much more magnificent than that. The soul in me, the spirit in me recognizes the spirit in you. How beautiful is that? It is so beautiful. So everybody, thank you very, very much for a wonderful, wonderful 2023. Thank you for being such a wonderful support of me and my work. And all the love in the world from me to you for 2024.